do I get my child's school to stop, prevent alienation? I get this question all the time from parents. How do I get the school to stop the other parent from interfering with my custody time? How do I get the teachers to understand what's going on, intervene on my behalf? How do I get access to school reports and report cards? How do I, this is very important, not struggle during the pickups where the children don't get in the car? How can I become more involved in the school? How can I educate about parental alienation? This is the most common question. We're in the beginning of October. School is in full season, is in full swing, and a lot of you are like, okay, I'm having trouble accessing my kids' records at school. I'm having trouble going to get my kids from school. What should I do? And being excommunicated from the school, whether not getting access to report cards, events, can be very painful and devastating. Because we are often telling ourselves, this is where I see other parents, these are where I see my friends, and now I'm ashamed that I cannot participate fully in my child's schooling. So if you're new here, I'm Gingergentile. I'm the director of the documentary Erasing Family, which you can watch for free on YouTube, or go to erasingfamily.org for all the links and some super cool resources. Sorry, I didn't get the phones on. I hope, can everyone hear me now? Okay. So, one thing that I always get asked is, how do I get involved in my kids' school? How do I educate the school about parental alienation when I try to be involved and the school seems to be an enemy. They don't make pickups easy. I don't know what's going on with my kid. I don't have access to their records. I want the school to know, how do I do that? And I'm going to be sharing some tricks in this video, some tips that can turn the school from an enemy or a bystander into one of your greatest allies to reunite with your child. Using the school is one of the biggest resources we as parents have, and I'll tell you why in this video. So if you haven't already, if you're watching this live, drop a comment in the video so I know where you're watching from, if you're familiar with our programming at Erasing Family, and I'll tell you a little about me. I'm Ginger Gentile. I'm the director of the Erasing Family documentary, which is free to watch on YouTube. Go to erasingfamily.org for some great links and resources. And for the past 2 years, I've taken it upon myself as a child of high conflict divorce who's lived through all this bullshit to say enough is enough. This is the last generation that's dealing with parental alienation. And I have begun to reunite parents with their kids without using the courts. That means some of my parents are in the middle of a nasty court battle. Some have a very tense custody situation. Some haven't seen their kids for 10, 20 years. But I work with them to feel peaceful and victorious as they reunite and heal their families. So let's see some of the comments. I'm Perth, Western Australia. Oh my God, it's so cool. Oregon City, Oregon. And I will be answering your questions in this chat. So please drop a line. I have Kentucky of what your issues with the school are. So first let's start with the beginning. If you are watching this in the United States, I have some very good news. The law is very clear. You as a parent have the right and responsibility to be involved in your child's education. Sometimes the schools are not aware of this. But unless there's a specific court order preventing you from going to the school or from having access to their records, you as a parent have access to their medical and educational records until they're 18. This does not depend on the other parent accepting this or not. Now, often schools don't know this. Often schools will ask, especially mothers, do you want the dad to be on the records? He doesn't have to be. This is illegal. But when we find out that this is happening, we're not going to go into the school guns blazing. We're just going to say, hey, due to these statutes, and you can look them up online, I have the right to my child's records, and I would like to be copied on all emails. I want to become an active participant in my child's education. And this is the first big tip. We are always offering help because we want to be more active in our child's education. We do not go with things like, I am being alienated. My ex is a narcissist, and this is what a lot of parents do. They go to the school with a problem. And when I began talking about this issue with school teachers, one thing that a lot of them said was, wow, this is a huge problem. I want to get involved, but as a school teacher, especially a public school teacher, I am so overwhelmed. Why? Because there's a lack of resources, a lack of funding. They're also dealing with teen pregnancy, drug use, crises left over from the pandemic, unemployment, homeless students. And one teacher even said, you come to me with divorce problems, this is on the lowest on my list. So we do not want to be another problem for the school. We want to be a solution. How do we do this? We start volunteering at the school as much as we can. But now here's the trick on how you use the schools to reunite. You volunteer, you donate money, but you do not do it with any intention of seeing your child. Maybe you even volunteer in things that your child doesn't participate in. Why? You're building up social capital in the school. It's possible that your ex has said things about you in the school, right? So what we're doing by volunteering, by showing up, by donating money, even in small amounts, is we're showing that we're a resource to the school. So that is a way when we have to ask the school a favor, they know us and they like us. They're more likely to help us. People who are liked, who come as someone who's a giver, not a taker, are more likely to get help. Is that unfair? Yes. But that is the way the world works. And I have worked with parents who have done this approach. I worked with one dad who the mom told the school the most awful things about him and all the parents, but there's no order preventing him from going to the school, so he started to show up, volunteer every possible moment. And he said the first 6 months, all the other moms and he was the only dad volunteering, which is scared him. But then eventually they were like, this guy's always showing up. He has good energy. He's not trying to see his kids, he's just helping. And then the kids started to see that he was respecting the school and they started to say hi to him. And after a year, he was back to visits with his 2 beautiful daughters, having fun with them, and being a beloved member of the school community. Because he approached it with, what can I do for the school? How can I show up? How can I help my daughters in general by being at the school? How can I help their classmates? And if something that comes out of alienation is you become a more active member of your community, that is a beautiful gift. And he embraced those gifts. So that is one way to get the schools involved. We don't show up with books about parental alienation. We don't want to tell them what's going on with the other parent. We want to be a helpful parent. We can always say, as you may know, sometimes divorces are high conflict. Trust me, they have seen this before. So I need all communication to go through me. I don't want to share communication with my ex. Now, let's talk about if we want to take this a little further and go with advocacy. I put in the description of this video a link to the Children's Divorce Bill of Rights. I am going to put them in the chat right now, the Bill of Rights. And here's what's beautiful about this. These Bill of Rights you can print out and you can take this to the school and ask if they can hang this up in the guidance counselor's office. Pretty cool, huh? Now, what is nice about this is you are offering a resource to the school, and you can not just go to your kids' school, you can go to all the schools in the area, and you're asking them to hang this up. It has a link to Erasing Family on it, so people might watch it. But it's all about that the kid has the right to not be put in the middle. They don't have to choose who goes to school events and functions. So this is a beautiful thing to gift the school. Again, you're not talking about your case, you're giving the school a gift. You can also arrange a screening of Erasing Family for parents and students and teachers at a school. Bring in some professionals to give a talk afterwards, order some pizza, have a discussion. If it's easier, you don't have to make this an official event. You can rent out a classroom. And Erasing Family, the documentary I made, is all about healing. It's about reuniting. It's not about blame. And it's appropriate for teenagers. So now I'm going to take your questions. Marhika Johnson, in Australia we have the rights, but the school will do anything, including our rights being overridden by principals who believe the voice and rights of the child. Marika, this is very common. The way you have to go this is just focus on your rights, which are the rights to the education, the rights to documents, and if necessary, you can escalate this to the district or whoever's in charge more, because these are rights that you have and responsibilities as a parent. And always go in, Marika, and say, I want to exercise my rights and responsibilities of a parent so my child can get the best education. You're not demanding to see your child. You're not demanding anything other than what the law gives. You are Fetty. I used to take hot lunches on a weekly basis. I would drop them off and pick them up. The school teacher, secretary, and principal would see me a minimum of 3 or 4 times a week. They never saw the mother. When she wanted to keep me from them, she just called them and said, I'm a flight risk, and they would not let me see my children. Watching from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So I'm so sorry about that, Bew. This is the case where you may need to write a letter to the school saying that without a court order, you have every right to go to the school. Maybe not drop off hot lunches, but you have the right to your child's education. Any other questions that we have? So remember, to recap, the schools can become a great ally if we approach them with what resources can we give instead of educating them on how they can help us. Before we always ask for help, we give something first, and we show up becoming great members of the school community. And if we want to become advocates, we give resources like the Bill of Rights, which I posted, and also we can host a screening of a racing family. If there's no other questions, that's okay. I have some. Stuart Pingley. Good info, but which takes precedence? An order of protection executed by an ex to prevent access to the school, or a divorce agreement that says I have access to the school? So Stuart, without knowing your case, most likely an order of protection would take precedent. An order of protection that's granted by a court saying you cannot approach a school, which is different than saying you cannot approach the ex or the child, will always take precedent. It's always the latest thing, and an order of protection needs to be overturned. Again, talk to your lawyer about this and see what you need to do to work to get the order of protection overturned, or you can participate in school meetings via Zoom and through email communication. See if there's anything else. Any other questions before we close up for tonight? Awesome. Well, I hope everyone is able to use the schools and reunite soon. And if you're thinking to yourself, this is great, but I need more help, please visit our website, reversingparentalalienation.com. Like and share this video right now. Please share this video. It really helps us getting the word out there. You are free to share this on your own page, on any community groups. But also, going to reversingparentalalienation.com, you'll see the Bill of Rights in our blog. But we have a free 35-minute webinar on what you need to know to reunite. We have a wonderful, powerful course called the Roadmap, which teaches you all the steps you need to reunite with your kids. And of course, if you're like, Ginger, I want to reunite right now, I want personalized strategy, I would love to work with you as a coach. So there are some great ways for you to get more involved in reuniting with your kids right now, tonight. I hope this video inspires you to take action and to reunite with your kids. I'm getting a lot of thank yous. A lot of people saying that your alienated kids have failed school. I'm so sorry, we're becoming aware of advocacy. So someone says, I haven't even seen my granddaughter in 11 years. Always reach out in an appropriate, polite way and become a magnet to draw your kids back. And Tracy, if you don't know how to do that, that's where the Roadmap program can really help. Looking at other questions. A lot of great work. Mike McCarthy says thank you. Katie says thank you, always great information. Lori White DeVolt, thank you. So this is a tough situation, and it's normal to feel frustrated, and sometimes the schools don't help. The important thing is to keep trying politely. If they're not respecting your rights as a parent, unless there's a court order saying that you cannot go to the school or get the school records, Even if there's a court order saying that you can't be near your child, you still have the right to the records and to talk to the teachers perhaps over Zoom or the telephone. So get involved, be ready, and plant the seeds so your kids come back. I'm also going to do a video in the future about what to do if your kids don't want to go to pickups. But remember, all the tips I give, all the advice I give, they don't work if you're not healed, if you're not in a good mindset, if you're not at peace, if you haven't released anger. And that's where my coaching programs, which you can find on reversingparentalalienation.com, really make the difference. So many parents tell me, I don't think they can work for me. And then I have parents saying, who do work with me, who say, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually working. All of that I teach is based on what has worked for other parents who have reunited. It's not about understanding the problem. It's not about becoming an expert in alienation. It is about copying what works, just like you would with anything else in life. If you want to start a business, you'd copy successful businesses. And all the parents who reunite, who solve parental alienation, follow the same steps. These steps will work for you too. Awesome. Well, with that, I hope to see a lot of you sign up for the roadmap, to contact me about coaching, to share a Erasing Family documentary in your schools, and to print out that Bill of Rights. Have it there. And some people ask, should I give it directly to my kids? It depends. In a lot of situations, probably not. Post it in schools, and it doesn't have to be your child's school. Remember, if we all posted the Bill of Rights in one school, our kids would see it because all the schools would have it. So if you're scared about approaching your kid's school, bring this to another school. Bring Erasing Family as a screening to another school. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and I hope you're all reunited soon. Stay well.